So, TikTok just pulled the trigger on one of the most complex and, frankly, politically charged deals we've ever seen in tech. It's this massive corporate restructuring with its Chinese parent company, ByteDance, and it completely changes the game for who controls your data. So, what does this high stakes corporate divorce actually mean for everyone? And the number at the center of all this? A mind blowing $14 billion. This isn't just some business deal, it's a financial earthquake that's basically redrawing the map for one of the most powerful social media apps on the planet. Yeah, people are calling it a $14 billion corporate divorce. And it's a pretty good analogy. This marks the official separation of TikTok's US operations from its parent, ByteDance, and it's the culmination of years of intense geopolitical pressure. The real question is, who gets custody of what? Okay, so let's meet the new player at the table. TikTok USDS LLC. This is a brand new joint venture, a company created for one reason and one reason only, to settle this long-running data privacy war. Its entire mission is to house and manage everything related to TikTok's US operations.
So, first up, the American Data Fortress. A win for privacy? The whole point of this was supposedly about your data. The big question is, does this new structure actually make your information any safer?
Okay, let's follow the data trail. To deal with all those national security worries, the flow has been completely re-engineered. Now, when you create a video here in the US, that data does something totally new. It completely bypasses any servers accessible by ByteDance. Instead, it zips directly to Oracle's cloud infrastructure, where it's stored and supposedly protected right here on American soil. So the bottom line here, at least from a storage point of view, is this. Control has officially shifted. The hands physically managing the servers that hold your videos, your comments, your messages, those hands are now American, all operating under Oracle's watch. But, and this is a huge but, there's a billion-dollar catch. While your data gets a new American home, the secret sauce, the real magic behind TikTok's success, that incredibly addictive algorithm, well, that remains a major point of contention. And this, right here, is the great trade-off at the very heart of this deal. The US side, through Oracle, gets control over the physical data, the storage, the privacy compliance, all that stuff. But ByteDance, back in China, gets to keep the crown jewels, the core AI algorithm, the recommendation engine that decides what you see next. To put it simply, America gets the data, but China keeps the brain. So this split in assets creates a really interesting new power dynamic. And to figure out who really comes out on top, you've got to do what you always do, right? Follow the money. Let's look at the ownership of this new joint venture. So on paper, American investors like Oracle have the majority stake, 60%. But here's the kicker. ByteDance hangs onto a very hefty 40% minority stake. And that is so crucial. Because while they gave up majority control, they are far from out of the picture. They still have a massive financial stake in the success of the US operation. Now, to deal with the whole China still controls the brain problem, they've set up this new watchdog called an AI trust panel. The idea is that this panel will look at every single line of code to make sure there's no foreign influence or manipulation. But a lot of analysts are pretty skeptical. I mean, how can a third-party panel realistically monitor one of the most complex, secret AI systems in the world in real time? It's a tall order. Okay, let's bring this all back down to earth. After all these billions of dollars and joint ventures and trust panels, what does this actually change for you and your For You page when you're scrolling at midnight? The short answer? Probably nothing you'll notice. Experts are pretty much all saying your FYP is going to look and feel exactly the same. Because hey, the algorithm making the picks is still the same one. The real difference is all behind the curtain. The ad feels identical, but the company legally responsible for your data is now American. And that brings us right back to the central question of this whole saga. After we've looked at the data controls, who owns the algorithm, and where the money's going, we have to ask, what was this whole thing really about? This is the real security puzzle, isn't it? Your data might be stored on US servers, but the AI that actually gets to access and play with that data is still controlled from abroad. So you have to wonder, is just walling off the data really enough to make it safe? Which brings us to the core debate. Was this a true win for user privacy, or was it just a billion-dollar political game? Supporters will tell you it's a landmark victory, that it sets a whole new standard for how foreign tech companies can operate in the US. But critics? They say it was just political theater that made a bunch of investors rich while leaving the biggest security risk, the algorithm, still on the table. Look, there is no easy answer here. This deal is messy, it's complicated, and it's totally unprecedented. It marks a brand new chapter, not just for TikTok, but really for the entire global internet. You can bet that regulators, competitors, and all of us users around the world are going to be watching to see how this grand experiment turns out. So, now the question comes back to you. After breaking all this down, do you actually trust this new structure? Does it feel like a real solution or just kicking the can down the road? Drop a trust or a nope in the comments below and let us know what you think. And be sure to follow us. We're CollabGenerate, and we'll be here to break down the next big story.